Welcome to Midweek Matters. And tonight it is our great pleasure to have Michael Coffey joining us. Michael was born in Ulysses, Kansas, and graduated from Amarillo College as a microcomputer specialist and West Texas A&M University with a BBA in computer information systems. He worked as a systems analyst for the city of Lawrence, Kansas, primarily supporting the fire department. With over 20 years of filmmaking experience, very different from IT, Michael has written 5 feature length screenplays, several short stories, and an adventure chapter book series for young readers. His film credits include associate producer roles in Nailbiter and documentaries like The Sound of Hope. He has acted, so he's been in front of the camera as well, in 7 films, including a speaking role in The Sublime and Beautiful. Michael co-wrote and produced Triumph, the teen sports drama starring RJ Mitty and Terrence Howard that was released in 2021 and then streamed on different streaming platforms in 2024. And not that he ever wants to rest, he's currently developing 4 additional screenplays into films called Into the Fire, The Funny Guy, Somebody Like You, and One Eye Open. It is our great pleasure to have you, Michael, joining us on Midweek Matter this evening.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
Yeah, I'm just going to replace you. There we go.
So, Michael, maybe you could start by telling us a little bit about yourself before we jump into the fantastic film that we all enjoyed watching on Sunday.
Okay. I was born in Kansas, went to high school in Texas, college, moved back to Kansas for my work with the firefighters. I loved helping the firefighters with computer work. That was an awesome job. When I had time, I would go out with the firefighters on calls, helping, like, giving out water, doing obviously the fires. So I saw a lot of house fires, and I could do the firefighters quite well. That helped me to write my screenplay into the fire, which I hope to make at some point. So I just finished directing my first movie when I opened in September. So I love directing, learned a lot. So right now it's being edited. So I hope to have it ready by next summer to be marketed. I'm hoping for a theatrical release. When I opened this cover, scary ghost story. It's not quite a horror story. I'm not a fan of horror. This is more like a suspense thriller, kind of like a Hitchcock Kubrick movie. So I kind of started writing short stories about scary stuff when I was a kid. Like when I was in 7th, 8th grade, I wrote my first short story, and that was kind of scary thriller. So I kind of grew up writing scary stories. So I made one, so that was exciting. And I hope to make The Funny Guy a romantic comedy next year with Josh Beer. Um, Josh Beer is a stand-up comedian who has
Oh,
mild CP.
yeah. Josh
So,
Blue.
yeah. In
Yeah.
fact, last year him and I in the director were resuming working on my script. So we came up with some real good improvs to help our story. So that's that's my next goal is to get that made next year. If we get enough funding. Funding's the hardest part of making a movie made, so wish me luck.
It's the hardest part of running a charity as well, I have to say.
But, yeah, I bet.
Can you remind me what the name of the film you've just finished
It's
directing
called,
is called?
yeah, it's called One Eye Open.
One Eye Open.
One
Brilliant.
Eye Open. Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
I really, this was my first time to direct a movie, and I was able to do it. So, not many people that have CP, I think, have directed movies. So that was a unique experience.
So
So I,
what were some of the challenges that you had, having not directed a film before anyway? Um,
yeah, yeah.
what were some of the challenges that you had to learn?
Yeah, there were quite a few um, obstacles, mainly getting funding. But the good part was I hired people I knew who knew me. So, in fact, my first AD, Patrick Ray, I've known him for like 12 years. So he was familiar with my speech. So I had to kind of really keep in mind to speak clearly to help direct. And if people didn't understand me, Patrick and others kind of interpreted,
Mm.
but that was helpful. But but um, so I learned a lot about like action, setting up the camera angles, and getting the camera somewhat like steady cam and handheld, and the different shots like dolly shot, open head shot. I mean, there was a lot to go into it that I didn't realize it until we started doing it. So, but I had to create a shot list before every scene, every day, with every kind of camera, different angles. So after a while, I really got into it and loved it. So I'm hoping to back together at some point.
And did you, as when you were talking about all the angles with the cameras,
Mhm.
did you have in your mind's eye what you wanted it to look like and you were trying to create that? Or was it that you had the concept that you wanted and then the camera showed you different ways
Right.
of doing it?
Yeah, at first I got home, I would have my imagination of how I see it being shot. But once you get to the location, I, I can change because different rooms or different like angles. So you kind of gotta work with the physical surroundings to best fit the scene. So, so sometimes you have to improvise, do it differently than what you thought because of the physical limitations. I was able to secure a 1860s mansion here in town. Beautiful house. It had like 17 rooms in it, different rooms. So that was helpful to shoot in that big house. But,
Can I take you sort of back to Triumph?
okay.
Like, I get, and I don't know if you covered it, and if you didn't, I apologize. But what was your reason for wanting to create triumph? Why
Uh,
did you
uh,
start the
uh,
project in the first
uh,
place?
right, well, in college, I decided I wanted to write a movie, kind of like The Quiet Kid. So I write the Quiet Kid screenplay and kind of taught myself. And one of my goals when I was writing a movie was to help use that as a way to educate people about CP. So I kind of kept that in mind to, to talk about how the cause of it, how people interact with me, just use it as a way to educate people what it's like with CP. And I think from the feedback I get, people really understand CP from watching the movie. So I think it helps them get a grasp about it.
Well, we're certainly grateful that you put it into to a film because I agree. I think there needs to be much more awareness
Right.
of
And,
CP. So once you had that idea, did I read somewhere, Michael, that it was sort of semi-biographical,
right,
or is it
yeah.
completely a work of fiction?
No, it's probably like about 70% real. Um, when I was a kid, I wrestled in third grade, I think, for a while until the school made me quit. I think they were worried about me getting hurt or something. I don't know. I was a scrappy, tough kid. So I'm not sure why the school made me quit, but so I kind of used that in the beginning of the movie. And, and when I was a kid, I did break my collarbone, but that was from a bike accident. And like in the, I think third grade, I was having trouble with math, with fractions. And I recall my dad and I sitting at the table and he was cut figures up to teach me fractions like those. So that came from real experience. In high school, I got into more weightlifting when we moved from a small town to Texas. I got more into weightlifting. Looking back, I wish I would have tried wrestling. So that part is fiction. So but back in the 80s, it might be difficult to join a team. I'm not sure how acceptable they would be. Nowadays, I think it's more acceptable.
Sorry, I couldn't get my
Yeah.
my mute off. Um, So you had this idea that and you wanted to raise awareness about CP and you
Right.
used some of your experiences. How do you take something from a concept like that and then it ended up on something like the as a film? I know you talked about fundraising, but were you already did you already have a foot in the door? Did you or was it something that was a big dream and you made happen? And if so, how did you do it so that we can all
Well,
copy?
yeah, it took like 3 years, but I kept, after I wrote the screenplay, I kept sending it out to companies like Spielberg, and Abby, Steven Spielberg company. They, one guy wrote me back, he really liked the story, but wasn't sure how to market it. They were more into like big dinosaur, big movies. So I've seen out for years and had no real bites. So in 2014, I was like, what the hell? I'll make it myself. So I just grabbed the bull by the horse and started producing it. I contacted Aussie's manager and worked to get him casted because well, at first I was going to play myself. And then I saw Aussie and thought, well, he's a way better actor than I am. So I got him on board. And I did the Kickstarter, but they didn't quite get that funding. Then later, I was able to get connected with a guy in LA who said he had funding, so we became partners to produce it. And we shot in Nashville for like 4 or 5 weeks until he got in trouble. So, so it took a while to get released because bad guys got involved. So it's a whole new story. I can make a movie about making this movie. Yeah.
And before I go, because I've asked you questions and I'm going to open it up, I just want to know about RJ Nitti and how you got RJ Nitti to play
Right. Yeah.
to play you or to play the main character.
Right. Yeah. Well, in 2014, I contacted Ozzy and Nancy and wrote him down my script. Was able to submit my script, and I worked with him for like a month or so. And finally, he wrote me back. We talked. And he said that Ozzy was interested. So that's how I was able to cast Ozzy. So, yeah.
Brilliant.
So
That's brilliant.
he's a really great guy down there. He has really mild CP. You really can't tell he has a slight speech impairment, but he's very physically able to do stuff. In fact, he did his own wrestling. He would not get a stunt double. He did his own stunts, which was cool.
That's very impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So, Abby, do you want to?
Let me tell you one quick trivia. The scene where Ozzy gets hit by his dad, that was real. Ozzy kept saying, hit me harder. He got hit like 10 times by Johnson saves. He, he took a lot of physical contact with that movie.
Wow. Did you
Yeah,
have to pay more for that?
no, he likes the physical aspect of it. And so,
That's good. I feel like I've monopolized the question. Abby, do you want to say what you liked about the film?
I Michael, what I the film was never give up your on your drive despite your despair. There is always going to be people out there that will try to live down a bit of the thing that is you got by the soul it people will do not to put them down, but you got to go. No, I'm not happy about it. I'm capable of doing it, and it is up to me what I want to do.
So I
Okay.
think that you've given Abby lots of inspiration to follow your dreams and not to listen to people who say that you can't do it. It's up to you if you want to try.
Right. You kind of gotta be tough, not listen to people that kind of put you down. You have, you have feel to do what you want.
And have you within the film industry, have you experienced that kind of comments or discrimination or
Oh yeah.
disbelief?
Every freaking day I go through something that seems like, but yeah, it's not easy, but yeah, you just gotta pick yourself up and keep fighting. Don't let it knock you down. But when it knocks you down, you gotta get back up.
Were you always, did you always have that attitude, Michael?
Um, yeah, I think because my mom and dad were, they treat me like a normal kid, and, like, just had this kind of fight in me to stand up for myself. I think because my dad was so strict and wanted me to succeed, so I think that that instilled a lot in me to to keep going.
I think lots of us on here have had that kind of experience. It does come down to your family, but we saw that in the movie. Is
Yeah,
that something, is that a theme that you wanted to kind
yeah,
of get
yeah,
across?
yeah. And I want to mention in my movie the teacher is based on the real English teacher, Mrs. Payne, who taught me English in senior high school. She inspired me to write and kept me focused on writing. So I kind of used her in my movie as a tribute. And so what a good teacher can do.
Um, so Janine just wants to clarify how much she missed what you said. How much of Triumph was based on your own story?
Oh
Was it
yeah, but
about 75% or?
yeah, about 70% most of it is real, except I did not wrestle in high school. I was more in weightlifting in high school, but all the other stuff is pretty real. That happened.
So the other stuff that you, and I think Alison had a question. Has she dropped off for you
I
as
think
well,
you might
Rin?
have dropped off. Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
she'll
Ah,
come back in shortly,
she
I'm
might come
sure.
back in. It
Yeah.
might be her internet. Yeah. Does anyone else have a question for Michael? Oh, does anyone else have a question for Michael about the film? Or
Michael, can I ask about sort of the whole teenage scene with dating and boys and girls, and how was
Right.
that from your perspective at high? Because I could see how it was portrayed in the film. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dating. when you have a physical, when you have a disability, can be very tough to do. So you gotta kind of find the right person who's open-minded enough to give you a shot. So, um, so in my script, Patty is the girl I met in college. We were met at a dance team, but, so I really like her, but nothing really involved. She got married with some guy, but I was trying to show how hard it is for people with disability to really have a romantic connection because a lot of people are not open-minded enough to try to date people with a disability. It is tough.
Mm, mm.
Yeah.
But
Alison,
yeah,
you sorry, carry on, Michael.
every now and then I meet somebody that has open-minded enough to, to, to pursue a relationship, but it's still challenging.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
I think nowadays is better than it was. There's more people that are aware of 15 different types of disabilities. So that helps.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, Alison, did you have a question?
I did. My God, I love the movie, number one.
Thank you.
You're welcome. One of the lines that really kind of caught my ear was
Uh,
how the coach will keep saying unravel that course. Could you tell us how that came to be in the movie?
okay. Did you, did you ask about umbilical cord?
Yeah, unravel the cord. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. In my script, I made that point to talk about how I got succeed because some people don't know how it can happen. So so I wrote about the Coffey restaurant like during birth. That scene kind of got rewritten a little bit in the high school where I was doing some training, but they more or less kept what I was going for. He just did it. In my script, Mike goes out on a date with Patty. Patty kind of asks him what happened. Mike tells her the notes. In the movie, Mike tells his coach what happened, but same thing, it's just different things.
Thank
And,
you.
and kind of sticking on the theme of people's knowledge and people
Uh,
don't really know much about CP. I had a double whammy this weekend that I also watched the Out of My Mind
Oh,
movie, the Disney Plus movie that's just come out
okay,
about
yeah,
Al with
I want to see that. I don't have a Disney, but it looks really interesting.
yeah, it was. And to be honest with you, before I watched it, I was a little bit skeptical because what I what I was dubious about was the portrayal of cerebral palsy as somebody who couldn't do anything, and
Uh,
who that kind of stereotype of somebody with a disability. But actually, I was really impressed with the way that they portrayed her as having lots and lots of abilities.
okay.
That they also included someone with a using a communication device, because I
Okay.
think sometimes that's not acknowledged. But I just wondered what you thought about representation, I guess, in the media and in films, and how do you think that that's changing?
Oh, yeah. Yes, definitely changing. So there's quite a few advocates like RJ I was trying to make an effort to make changes and hire people with disabilities to make films be in front of the camera. So,
And I was talking to, we've had some script writers that have come to talk to us in the past, not who have done films, but who are in that kind of industry.
mm,
And they say that the difficulty is um, that people who are buying the scripts um, don't always see the relevance to the wider
uh,
um,
yeah,
to wider, and all that they want people with disabilities to be writing the scripts so that they're more authentic. But do you see that there are more people with disabilities writing scripts so that they can get made, or
I think there's more people being hired because they want to keep it more authentic. So I think that's going to help a lot. Like that's one reason I wrote my script myself because I know CP very well. Other writers might not know everything I know, so that makes it way more authentic. Same thing with Ozzy, his acting. He lives it every day, so it just helps us make it more authentic. But in Hollywood keeps it going. Like people that know big talent, like big names, so they like to hire people that have a bankable name. So that's why some people with this feeling they don't get a chance because it's a money making business.
how do you feel about this one? So we also know somebody who is an actor with CP, and who is friends with another actor who is CP, who took a part, much like you were describing RJ Mitty, in that he's less disabled than the character that he was portraying, um, and he felt that that was disingenuous, that he should leave those roles to people who are actually more physically disabled. Did you have a problem with that? Or I hadn't thought about it from that perspective before, and I just wondered what you thought about that.
Um, um, I was happy with all the performance. All the kind of, he would kind of study how I move, how I walk, and he would kind of mimic my walk and my left hand. So he did a pretty good job mimicking my physicality. I think that was helpful to make it more realistic.
Yeah, and but you didn't have a problem with that.
Um, um, no, not at
No.
all. Uh, Um, no, because he made a great effort to keep it more real.
Mhm.
I, I think there might have been another comment. I'm
Okay.
just checking before I launch in.
And there we go, Becky. Becky,
Becky,
do you want to answer your question, ask your question, or do you want us to read it?
Um, yeah, I just stuck it there before I forgot later what I said.
That's okay.
Um, sorry, is my oh yeah, my video is working. I was interested, Michael, in how you actually go about writing scripts and stories. So do you actually make use of like technology and stuff? Because we had some people talking the other week about voice recognition software and the trouble that folks with speech impediments can have. So I wonder whether you've ever used or tried that, or do you type and write yourself, or do you have like a writing partner or someone else who gets it all on paper for you? How do you actually go about getting it on paper? Because that must be the hardest bit, I would think, apart from funding.
Yeah, the good thing is my right hand is pretty good, so I type about 30 more minutes maybe on the keyboard. So, in fact, ever since fourth grade, I've been typing on like typewriter. So I'm really good with the keyboard now. So for screenwriting, I use this software called Final Draft. And Final Draft is a standard screenwriting program that everyone basically uses to write scripts, and that really helps speed up the formatting process. So if you're screenwriting, I highly recommend Final Draft or some type of screenwriting software. Before that, I was using like WordPerfect and stuff. But, um, I've tried voice recognition typing before. It was difficult to use, but I think nowadays they're getting better and better. But I'm lucky that I can still type and do that.
Ah, that's good. Okay. So so I was taught to type one-handed when I was little. I don't know whether there's similar things happen in the States or not.
Um,
Or do you just make it up did you just learn to type as you went along, one-handed?
um, I'm not familiar with one thing,
Okay.
but I type about 30 words a minute average.
That's pretty close to what I can do, and I supposedly have a formal touch typing course in
Okay,
one-handed. So
okay,
I think you're
yeah,
doing pretty well, Michael,
I
regardless of
see.
whether you had a course or not. That's why I asked. I was like,
Oh,
have
okay,
you been
yeah.
taught? No, you just did it as you went along.
Okay, yeah, I kind of taught myself to type. I did take typing in high school, but I think you had a question about ideas. Usually, I kind of get an idea for a story and let it kind of sit in my brain for a while and let it um, grow. And, and then you start writing after I think about it for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. So it has to, yeah, kind of, um,
Go, jump,
yeah,
grow. Yeah. But I prefer like true stories, something meaningful.
yeah.
So,
Interesting. Thank you.
Do you know many other people in the entertainment, writing, producing, directing community with cerebral palsy?
um, I know a guy named Michael Cooper. Um, he's he's a twin brother of actor Ashton Kutcher. So him and I corresponded before, and I think he is a little bit like filmmaking. He's mostly like a lives voice lectures. He advocates. He has CP, but Michael Cooper is his name.
Cousin.
Now, Cooper, Cooper,
Michael Kutcher.
Yeah,
Casting
Oh
coach's brother.
yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, his brother was asking, but him and I co-signed before. And I've co-signed with a couple guys that have CP. So, yeah, there's not that many, but yeah.
And
And
on your sets, because there's one of our ambassadors who is she's a she runs her own talent agency, but she's
Mm.
among many of her other talents, she's also trained up as an access coordinator for TV and screen
Uh-huh.
productions.
Okay.
So in England, and I didn't know whether those sorts of things happen on sets in America as well, where you have people that will help coordinate
Mm-hmm.
people's
Yeah,
access needs.
right. Yeah, I do have a talent agency, um, but so far they haven't really been that helpful. So I've been kind of finding my own work. But yeah, there's talent agencies here like supposed to be helping people find work.
And
Right?
then when they're on the set, to give them that, to
Um,
help navigate the set with maybe some of the physical challenges that it might
yeah,
bring to them.
right. Yeah, so far I haven't done it, but I've heard that you can hire or have someone on set to advocate in case you need accommodations.
do you think that the film industry is getting used to making adaptations and accommodations for people with disability on set, or is it still very new in its infancy?
It's still pretty new. I think it can better. In fact, I know that the Hollywood Academy is making filmmakers hire a certain amount of people that have disabilities. So that helps get people involved. So, yeah, there's gonna be more and more people hiring people with disabilities to meet that quota. So, so I think that will help the industry more.
Um,
Um,
Abby wanted to know just about the film that that you've just completed now. Wondered when it was coming out.
Um, right now it's being edited, so I'm hoping to have it all done next summer, and then I need to market to the distributor. So hopefully sometime next year, but you never know how long it might take to market a film. I might try a film festival to
Mm,
help market it,
mm.
but yeah.
so
So,
what happens, Michael? You write the film, and then do you have to go market it to someone like Netflix or
mm,
do you have to sell them, or do you have people that like
well,
your film and do it on your behalf?
right now, from what happens, I kind of get by everything myself to keep the cost down. I mean, I directed it, I produced it, I casted on the wall 13 roles. So now we've done with the acting, I got get a composer to do score and sound. And then for marketing, I will probably be contacting my own contacts to see what they think, then, then probably contact film festivals to enter in the film fest, and then I will be working with the recipient. I do have a lawyer that might be able to help me find a good deal, so that might be helpful to have an advocate for me to negotiate a deal. But basically, I'm doing this myself.
You're a man of many talents,
Yeah,
Michael.
yeah.
You have to be.
I like casting a lot, producing good stuff. I like it all. The one thing I really don't like is trying to find funding. That's not for me. So,
And do you find that you have lots of people that want to be in the films? Lots of
um,
people
yeah, yeah,
around all.
yeah. I know a lot of people now, so I was able to get a great crew, hire a crew, hire a cast. So that was not much of an obstacle.
Yeah. And Alison has got a follow-up question. Alison, do you want to ask a question or would you like us to ask it?
Could you?
Okay, I will ask. This is Alison's question, Michael. She
Okay,
wants to know if you have any tips on how to turn a book into a film script. She has recently written a book and she's
great,
thinking about adapting it into a script.
great. Yeah, that's, that's, that's a great move to first write a book before you write a script. That way you have a great outline and you have a book written. So the next step is to kind of write your script with software and try to find an agent to market the script or make it yourself.
Thank
And
Uh,
is it, as someone who's not a writer, traditional writer anyway, is it difficult to convert something that's a book into something that comes alive on the screen in a script?
oh, so, I think I haven't done it yet. I might be doing it at some point, but I think it'd be easier, way easier to take it from a book to a script. So because we kind of got the story on outline, you know what's happening. So you just need to pick out what parts you want in the movie. So I think it's a great start.
Fabulous. And I have a follow-up question to that. Um, you hear all the time when you talk to people who write scripts or books that they've had one in them for a long time and it's percolated like a cup of coffee
Right.
for a long time before they put it on paper. Is that the same for you, or do you decide that you're going to write something and then come up with an idea, or are these things that just kind of
Okay. Well, I have a great example about probably 6 years ago. I went to a comedy house in Kansas City to go see Josh New perform. And when I got home that night, or maybe next day, I came up with the idea of Josh New being in my movie about a rom-com. And so I kind of thought about maybe for like a week, but that kind of inspired me to start writing a script kind of right away. And I used that kind of inspiration to write. I mean, I wrote that script pretty fast, like probably two 2 months to write that one, cause because of a new job from that one night. So that helped me write that pretty quick. But usually, I think I think about it for a while before I dig in. It depends on the idea.
Do you have a favorite place to write, or do you have to put yourself in a certain mode, or
Yeah.
can you write anywhere?
Okay. Yeah, usually I feel most creative in the morning time. So sometimes I go get in the right mood. So I use like music to help me get in that right zone. So I listen to a lot of film scores, classical music, stuff like that to help me get into that mind frame of being creative. So it's kind of
There
just
we go,
start.
Alison. You might want to find some music.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
yeah,
What
yeah,
would be your music of choice, Alison?
Me?
yeah.
Oh, my music. I think instrumental is really great for me. And I love 80s pop, but I'm not
Yeah, yeah.
sure. Yeah, I'm not sure that's great for writing though, but great for the action.
So, does anybody else have a question for um, either about the film or about the process of filmmaking or Michael's follow-up work? Does anyone else have a question? I'm gonna just have a look. Oh, hold on. I'm gonna find Barbara. Barbara Ann. There we go. I think you're on mute. Sorry.
Yeah, I was wondering, when the film's completed, which territories will you be selling into, or will you go straight to stream?
Well, yeah, for one, I opened one of my goals is a theatrical release. It was very challenging to get a theatrical release, but I'm hoping with my good cast and story, I might have a chance. Not come on. So if not, maybe streaming like Amazon or something like that. So, but right now, my focus is to make my movie the best it can be. That's very important.
And is there a um how do I put it? In terms of streaming things versus getting it onto the mainstream, is there still a hierarchy
Right, yeah,
in terms of what's the best?
right. Oh, yeah, um, when you go theatrical, they want big actors. So I'm hoping having Ozzy me, I cast him in one I opened, and I cast some other good talent. So I'm hoping that the theaters will like my cast. And normally, if you get theatrical, that's the first step. And then after theatrical, streamers get on board. So that's kind of the next step if you could get theatrical first. But, but usually it goes straight to streaming or small movies. But I'm hopeful. Triumph came out of theaters for a little bit.
Janine, do you want to ask your question?
Yeah, I was just wondering if all of your work had some element of disability or cerebral palsy within it.
Um, not all the smart girls and the funny guy girls, but my other three screenplays do not involve disability at all. So when I open this kind of mainstream thriller, kind of like a movie, Penny Cream, that has nothing to do with disability. So,
Right, thank you.
uh,
I was going to ask you actually, Michael,
mm,
out of all the screen plays or scripts that you've written, which is the
mm,
one that you wanted to produce first? And is it the one that got produced first?
yeah, yeah. Time for my first script and my first produced movie. So, yeah, um, um, I'm hoping to, yeah, when I open was the second one to produce, the last one almost, yeah, when I open was my last script I wrote. So, so, yeah, so,
And it said in your bio that you'd been in front of the camera as well. So
mm,
what was it like being on the other side of the camera, having now that you've been on both sides of the camera, which do you prefer and why?
mm, uh, I like both. I like both. Cause we act, you kind of get to play a different person. So you kind of like be creative. You kind of, you get to be a whole new character. So I like that aspect. And acting is more challenging than what you think because it is very hard for me now to memorize all those lines. Last summer, I had an audition. I went to Kansas City to audition, and I had to memorize like 3 pages. That was tough, but I did pretty well. But acting is not as easy as you might think. So, I mean, I also like producing, so, so I like it all, basically.
Well, it's good that you can be in each of the you can be in both all the shoes.
Well, yeah, I
You
think
appreciate a bit more what you're
yeah,
directing
oh,
if you've done it.
yeah, I think it's very helpful to know how it feels on both sides.
Yeah.
So now I have way more respect for actors. Cause it's not, it's not as easy as you might think.
Abby, you've got a question. Do you want to ask your question? I think. Shall I ask it for you, Abby?
I think you can't get it off mute, can you, Abby?
Yeah. Oh, there
Oh,
you
there we
go.
go.
Result.
That's okay.
I know my become a lot weird because it's your mover. But what was your favorite thing this riot or what are the
don't think that's a weird question. Abby, what Abby wants to know is well, she knows that it's your film, but what's your favorite? What was your favorite scene to write or to watch when it came out in Triumph?
That's a great question. Yeah, when I was Triumph, there's a scene that really stood out that became my favorite. And this scene is where Mike is going to his room and he starts dancing around. And his dad walks in, and Mike and his dad start dancing around, kind of funny, bonging, 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 and that's my absolute favorite scene in the whole movie. Is when they finally bond and connect, have fun, and then from that point, Mike's dad finally decides to help Mike reach his dream to wrestle. So,
And
yeah.
when you wrote that scene, did you have a visualization of what it would look like on the screen?
Oh yeah. I knew exactly what I wanted. Yep. I remember the day we filmed that. I was watching it. It was very touching to watch. And I fought really hard to keep that song that I wrote in my script. I used Billy Idol's Dancing with Myself. I wrote that in my script. I had to fight to, to keep that in the movie, even though that song cost a lot of money to get in the movie. I make dancers to, to get it.
So yeah, because you have to pay for the rights to use the songs,
Yeah,
don't you?
and that cost a whole lot of money. But I think
Did you
it
have
made,
to? Sorry.
I think it really helps the movie get to the next level, having the right great music behind the scene. It really enhances the scene.
I'm just interested, did you have the final say on it, or did you have to fight other people?
Oh God, I had to fight my producer partners, basically, since they were kind of tight on money. So, yeah, but luckily they listened to me.
So you had a certain amount of creative control over it.
More or less. I can be very determined to get what I want. There was nothing else way to put it. Because I was dealing with some real assholes. So, yeah.
Isn't that just what Hollywood's about, though, Michael? Some
Oh
of
yeah,
it.
yeah. Like I said, I can make a movie about making time. It was a crazy journey.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
I
maybe
got
we can inspire you to make that movie.
yeah, yeah. I've been thinking about making a documentary, documentary about the making of time. Cause,
Have you ever
uh,
done a documentary before?
um, I have not made one. I've helped with three get like this recent, but so far I haven't written one. And I love documentaries because they're more educational. So at some point I might make one.
Oh, good. And I just wanted to read Anna's comment to you that just to tell you that she really the film and that she related to it really strongly and that she's looking forward to your new one.
Great, thank you.
Um,
I hope
I,
it all works. I hope it all works out.
and I don't know if I've missed this or you're not allowed to say. Are you allowed to give us some idea about what that next one's about?
Um, the pink guy, yeah, the pink guy is not a stand-up comedian who has CC, and he he's struggling to find work, but so he starts out performing in like dive bars and stuff. And one time he's performing and he gets hurt, but he makes a guy mad and the guy kind of shoves him, knocks him down. So he ends up going to hospital because he hurts his wrist. And while he's in the hospital, he meets a doctor who he kind of likes, and he, that's why he kind of gets up the courage to ask for help. So basically, he kind of gives Gaga, he like Google Earth about his doctor, and he falls in love with his doctor, who has a boy who's overweight. So Josh kind of helps the boy overcome his obstacles that of being overweight while trying to be trying to be romantic with his mom. So his son, like how how he deals with being romantic with a normal woman and what they go through with trying to strike up a romance between a disabled and non-disabled person. So his stories come about that in a comical setting.
And I wanted to ask you about that in terms of so that's a conversation that we've had on our chats on lots of occasions about having romantic relationships if you've got a disability and whether you need to only be dating people within the disabled world or how it works.
But
Do you think that do you think it's important that you cover themes like that are kind of that people puzzle about?
yeah, because for me, it seems like normal people like executive date, like disabled people date disabled people, normal people only date normal people. So I think there needs to be more of a mix. Just because you're normal doesn't mean you can't be disabled, vice versa. So,
I think that's it's something really fascinating that Emma and I and actually everyone on the chat over the the number of years have talked about that we've explored lots of things to do with race and gender,
right,
women's issues, all of that sort of stuff in the mainstream, in film, in books, in politics. But
right.
disability and the world of disability feels like the last frontier that hasn't
Bingo.
really been explored in a you don't want a Hallmark card type version of it. You want to just unpack the
Right,
realities in
Mm.
a entertaining way, but in a real way.
right,
So
right, right. Yeah, yeah. Me, when I wrote the script, I kept it very real, pretty raw, but you come in easy way. But yeah, I'm hoping again to educate people about, hey, this this exists. This is a problem that we need to shine a light on.
Mm, mm. It's really powerful.
I'm,
It's
I'm hoping people will like it and kind of open their eyes to the different possibilities with different people.
yeah,
And
I
I
think it's
think,
something about raising the, like you say, putting a spotlight on it, because when you say cerebral palsy, people might have one image, but actually
Mm.
there's so many different um,
Oh yeah,
ways it presents itself in people.
but it's amazing how different people are with different types of CPU. Sometimes you can't even tell. Um,
and I think I'm really grateful to you for raising some of these issues, because I've seen through other things that it's when it gets to the media, when it gets to film, when it becomes
mm.
reality in entertainment, that people begin to accept it into the mainstream, and then that's really important, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, that's one big thing I like about being a filmmaker is it gives me a possible bigger platform to help educate people who share stories that otherwise might not be seen and felt.
Mm.
It impacts culture, which impacts outcomes.
But yeah, I really like impacting people, making a difference. So that's kind of, it could be my calling, my, my advocation.
Well, you're obviously very talented at being able to do that in many, many different ways. Michael, thank you so much. And thank you for coming today and for
Thank you.
sharing your experiences with us. It's been really interesting. And having the opportunity to watch the film beforehand has made it a really
All right.
special couple of days. So thank you so much.
Thank you for
Before
watching.